Oh, this is Michael.
Hey, Michael, how you doing?
Doing well, yourself?
Well, I'm not doing too good, really. Rio's towed my car for one of your properties. That Elm apartment.
Okay, which one is that?
The Elms Apartments.
Okay.
Well, the signage is posted to that property don't even comply with state law. Now,
Okay.
I'm going to file a tow hearing, but they didn't provide me the name on the person who authorized the tow, and I need that information for a tow hearing request for Judge Hernandez's court. Are you the one who authorized the towing off that property?
I don't communicate with them at all.
Huh?
They handle everything. I don't authorize the towing company.
Well, you have to have a written contract with the tow. You got to have written authorization. The tow company has to have written authorization from whoever manages or owns the property. Like the tow sign that's posted out there. Did y'all put that sign up?
No.
So I don't guess you provided written notice to him as required by state law that you did put up the sign.
Well, I just took over management of the property, so that's also something that the previous company did. And
well, I just talked to her. She just gave me your number that you've been managing the property for 3 months. Now, my vehicle was towed in April 5th.
Okay.
And I was over visiting my daughter, and I didn't even see the sign when I pulled in there until after I found my car towed.
Okay.
And because, see, the sign's got to be facing you when you pull into the driveway. You can't post a sign perpendicular to the street because the law specifics that sign's got to be facing the driver when they enter. It's just like the police running radar on the street with no speed limit sign on it.
Yeah, yeah.
You understand that?
Yeah.
Now, see, I had to end up paying $274 to get my car back. And the gentleman over, Mr. Rio, Tony Rios, are you aware that he's a convicted felon?
I am not.
Yeah, he murdered a baby. And my daughter was telling me she goes to school with some kids that live over at the retreat apartments, that Tony Rios pulled a gun on them because he's been getting assaulted because all the college students knows he killed a baby. And he wants to brag that he was coked up.
Yeah.
You know, what type of individual like that, you know, why the state would give somebody like that a license in the first place is beyond, but they only go back 3 years on criminal history. Instead, they should go back 20 years.
3 years, wow.
That sucks, really. And it's just really a sad situation. And of course,
I'm looking at that and change the service over there.
Well, if you know, the only two companies over in San Marcos that are legitimate companies, Michael, is Southwest and Saucedos. They're the only ones that have legal tow signs. They're private legal tow signs, and they use their construction company to install the sign and charge the management company $10 because you got to have a pole to put the sign on and then install the sign. And it's very important to use a company that's got some type of moral ethics to it than someone that murders babies. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, no, I mean, I had no idea.
And then the manager over at Dakota Springs, she dealt with that prick 5 days in a row. She got tired of it because he kept coming over every day offering her bribes. I'll give you $20 a car. We give you gift cards. We do you this. The manager over said, I don't want to go that route. And whenever he showed up on Friday, she called the police. The police arrived out there and wrote him a criminal trespass warning. Then he went speeding out of the parking lot, throwing rocks, and they chased him down and wrote him a ticket for reckless driving and speeding and told those cops to go fuck themselves. He's going to wipe his ass with that ticket. So that's very disrespectful. You don't want to be affiliated with a company that's using the F word with your police officers.
No, yeah. No, I definitely appreciate the information. I'll have to double check our other properties, make sure he's not doing those.
Well, number one, if you were smart, you'd cancel your contracts with him immediately because this tow on my car is going to cost you, let's see, it's $274 times 3. That's 275 times 3 there. That's 15, 22, 6. That's going to be about $1,800 on this tow it's going to cost you. And I know he ain't going to pay it, because on our small claim statutory violation lawsuit, it goes against the landowner and the property management company instead of the tow company. Because you're saying, telling me now you don't have anything in writing that authorizes those cars to be towed?
Not that I'm aware. They just had some type of verbal communication with them.
Well, see, that shows you how crooked these bastards are. And I'm telling you this straight up front. I'm trying to help you, Michael.
No. I mean, I'm doing a lot of fixes from.
I encourage you to go to Texas
management to this.
I encourage you to go to TexasTowingCompliance.com and subscribe to that organization under the property management company. That's how I found out about Rios. And you read those articles on him, and it turns your stomach, and you'll find out you don't want your residents dealing with someone that kills babies. It's carrying a gun around
no doubt.
In a parking lot because he's scared because he keeps getting beat up by college students trying to collect drop fees. He's not even hooked up to the car.
Yeah.
He called a federal judge a wetback, and he's a Hispanic himself, just because he had a Spanish surname on his driver's license. He's over enrolling his daughter at Texas State.
Mm-hmm.
You can do what you want to do, but this is going to be...
Yeah, no, I'm definitely going to change him up. That's horrible.
You know, the best one, I'd tell you use Southwest. Mike Saucedo Jr. is the one you want to talk to over there.
What's his name? I've communicated with him before, and I liked him, but I hadn't.
Mike Saucedo Jr.
Okay.
And his number is 512-392-4442. See the manager right next to your property over at the Polo Club? Is that one of your properties as well?
No, that is not.
See, Saucedo Southwest had that property. But, see, the Saucedo family is not going to pay people bribes like their competitors.
Yeah.
They've been in business for 60 years. They're a family business. So there's no, when we went down there and we were taking a lot of complaints on the hotline about San Marcos, and we went down there with an audit team and surveyed the entire city. There was not one legal sign posted, not one legal sign. And we met with all the tow companies and tell them what you got to do to come in compliance. Well, Rios told us to go fuck ourselves, and Phoenix Towing, she's out of business because she had a cocaine habit. Her husband divorced her because he just got tired of it. You cannot survive in the business climate when you have employees that are using drugs.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah.
So it's a big liability out there, because, see, every car that you've allowed him to tow without a standing written agreement, you're on the hook for those vehicles.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here.
What is your last name, Michael?
Nolan.
Nolan, common spelling?
N-O-L-E-N.
N-O-L-A-N?
E-N.
N?
N-O-L-E-N.
E-N?
Yes.
And his Michael is A-E-L instead of E-A-L?
Correct.
And what is your physical address? So you can be
1920 Corporate Drive, Unit 201B.
All right.
And then San Marcos, Texas.
You're right over there by Stagecoach, ain't you?
Yeah.
Well, you'll be right down the street from the court tow hearing. You won't even have to drive. You can just get you some exercise and walk over there.
Yep.
So this is what's going to happen, Michael. I'm going to file a small claim statutory violation lawsuit. And we're going to name Rios in this as well. And since you're the management, you're the one who gives them authorization without written authorization, he knows better than that, and he took advantage of you to line his pockets. You understand what I'm talking about? So we're not after the people. We're not after the people who do not know versus people that do know better, because people especially people that just take over management companies and start managing properties, you have to know the law on towing cars because it will eat you alive. Because the worst thing you want to do is piss off a parent and your rent stops coming in, they move somewhere else, and you don't want that. You agree?
Correct.
You agree with that?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's...
So, just want to give you heads up, sir, so you'll know, so you don't allow yourself to get taken advantage of anymore. You cannot tow cars.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to change them out, make things out.
Here's what you got to have, Michael. You got to have. You got to have two.
Let's see if they have any written.
Yeah, they do because we provided them with all the documents. There's two.
No, I'm saying I want to ask the previous management company if they had anything in writing from them.
Well, it wouldn't do any good because it changed owner. It changed. She doesn't have anything to do with the property anymore. She says she's been 3 months since y'all took over, and she didn't even have a written contract. And she said, I didn't know that. God, I'm so glad. She said, I've heard about this other management company in town. Well, the Avenues out there, because of Master Tow and Phoenix Tow and Will Tow, it's already cost them $90,000. So I encourage you to go to TexasTowingCompliance.com. There's plenty of articles about Rios on there.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's already lost any service we're going to have. So, I mean, that's something, I mean, I do want to look into that so I can have that on hand. And then,
well, just like Chief,
got to get Southwest to.
Just like Chief Stage says over there at the police department, he's not going to tolerate tow companies taking advantage of citizens and the college students.
No, yeah.
But see, they gave the tow companies a grace period that ended in January to bring their signs in compliance. Well, the state law didn't give no compliance because the sign law been in effect since 2009, so there's no excuse not to say I didn't know. It's been 6 years.
Yeah.
So that excuse that's out the door. So all they want to do is use your authorization to terrorize your residents, and they hammer those properties 5 days prior to the first and 5 days after the first because they know the tenants have got rent money. So when you got tenants say, well, I can't pay my rent, I ain't got my money, I got towed off. You don't want your residents saying that, do you? So what you want to do on your properties, you want to tell your tow company, I don't want any towing on the property 5 days prior to the first and 5 days after the first unless it's in the par lane, blocking a dumpster, or parked in a handicap space, or parked in someone's assigned parking space. Because if I'm paying for a space and a car parked in my space, I want the prick towed. But just allow them to have free will to steal cars, move cars around in parking lots and take pictures. And people, I didn't park there. So, well, I got a picture right here that says you did. So that's
a good idea.
You know, towing is a necessity.
Yeah, especially in that location.
Because, number one,
it should be done right.
It's not being done right. That's just it.
Mm-hmm.
See, that driveway where the M's, the law says curb cut, the width of the curb cut. I measured it a while ago. The curb cut is 40 foot wide. It actually takes 2 signs on that driveway. And that sign's facing the street. And when you're coming down the street, not from the stop sign where you take to right there and go down the street, but you come in the opposite direction and you go to turn in there, you can't even see the sign. That HEB over there, that little HEB over there across the campus, they learned from Rios, cost them $190,000. Because you see on that sign that's posted over there, there's statutory text, just like a stop sign. If you leave out any letter of a stop sign, it's not a stop sign. You can't put a stop sign up there and put the letters backwards. Common sense. Statutory language on a tow sign. Anything in quotes you cannot delete or add. And all of Rios' signs. He's going around trying to change them, but he doesn't have notice from the park, so they did make the change. But he'll go in there and take a red magic mark. He'll write an S in there and put an apostrophe. It's got to say unauthorized vehicles will be towed at owner's apostrophe S or operator apostrophe S. He left off the apostrophe S. And now it doesn't cost him any more, any less to make a legal sign. So when a person makes a illegal sign on purpose, that's deception.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't know the difference between a legal sign and an illegal sign, you just assume your towing company's telling you what's right. But what can you expect is right from a baby murderer?
Yeah.
And now with San Marcos PD filing on him for criminal trespass, giving him a criminal trespass warning for Dakota Ranch.
How does he still have a license? Or how can he still practice business?
It's kind of screwed up because, see, the Texas Department of License and Regulations has commissioners that are appointed by the governor. Okay, those appointments are based on the amount of money you contribute to that governor's campaign, and since those are all Perry appointees, the agency wants to suspend and revoke licenses because they got evidence that corruption exists. But these commissioners, they want, that's too high of a fine. They want to fine him $1 and give him a payment plan for a damn dollar.
Okay. I'm not following.
All right. Just like whenever you go to court.
I mean, I got that part, but I guess.
It's very intelligent. How do they get licenses? Well, when they're sitting
how does he get it? But why does he still have one? I mean, if all this is backed up, I mean, that he's clearly got a substantial amount of evidence against him to remove all towing for life for him.
I agree. Everybody agrees 100%. But see, you got an agency that rather sit by and collect fines on payment plans at the taxpaying citizens' misery, while we continue to get raped left and right through the pocketbook. Then you got Then you got that corrupt judge over there across the street in the campus, Judge Prada. She's as corrupt as a box of snakes. She take campaign money disguised as bribes from tow companies to go to her court. So we send everybody over to Margie's court, over to Stagecoach. Even Rios campaigned against her to get her out of office. Called her a bitch.
Yeah.
That's where it is, Michael. I tell you this, sir, I talked to a lot of property management companies across the state.
Mm-hmm. What do you do?
Well, we conduct sting operations across the street to bring compliance among the tow companies and parking facilities. I was over visiting someone. I come out, my car was towed. And then I had to go over and deal with that prick. He wouldn't even let me drive. He wouldn't even let me drive my own car out of the storage lot. I didn't even want him in my car. And then when I got my car, I found out he broke into my car with a Slim Jim, and I found a roach that fell out of his pocket in between the seats of my vehicle. Now we know they use drugs over there, for a fact.
Mm-hmm.
See, he couldn't get a license. The state wouldn't give him a tow company license, so he took the license out in his girlfriend's name, Barbara Carmona.
Okay.
Go in there and search on the website on Texas Towing Compliance. We're down at the bottom. You can search by tags, or you can type in Rios Towing Guilty Conscience and listen to that recording. Where a student went over and questioned about them towing his car illegally. And then he starts lying. Well, I just give you money back. Well, why did you tow it in the first place?
Yeah.
You don't have those problems with the Saucedos. They use legal signs. They don't hire felons. If they do have a felon, it might be for a DWI, but everybody gets a DWI. If they drive from San Marcos to Austin and go downtown and party. True?
Yeah.
That's common, but not no baby murder. Somebody kills somebody. That baby was 9 months old. And I even spoke before the TDR commissioners about Rios, how insane it is.
Yeah.
See, Tony Rios has put San Marcos on the map. Because when we wrote that article about him killing that baby, he got 9 million views. Then we sent it out on the Texas State Blast on the Twitter. So all the college students, we've educated all the college students on their rights on towing.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Because we don't, like I say, there's some people that deserve to get towed, and there's some people that don't deserve to get towed. You don't want them to tow a car because it's parked on the damn line. Car can still get in the space next to it.
Yeah.
Or we got Rios on video when we had him under surveillance, unlocking a car door and taking the permit off the windshield, then taking a picture showing their window permit and towed the car. And that was a bait vehicle as well. Very, very dishonest.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it looks like, yeah.
You wouldn't find him on the front row of church on Sunday. Matter of fact, Rios can't, San Marcos PD will not let him pick up on their police collision rotation. Hayes County won't let him pick up on any of their calls. DPS won't let him pick up any of their calls. Guadalupe County, all the counties around there, they've banned him from picking up any calls that they initiate, because they don't want to have the possibility of a deputy or a police officer or a DPS trooper asking Mr. Rios to transport a mother and 2 children off the highway that's been involved in a wreck. Would you want your child sitting next to a baby murderer at that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I mean, it just amazes me he's still even acting in any form.
Well, I'm reaching out to you, Michael, as a friend, to help you so you won't get taken advantage of.
No, I appreciate it. I mean, this is going to give me the opportunity to change services and shore everything up, so that's going to be good. I
would highly recommend you send him a fax immediately and tell him not to tow anything, that he's prohibited from towing anything off any of your properties, period.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have to...
Yeah, no, it's already sent.
Huh?
It's already sent.
And if you have to, you call San Marcos PD and you talk to Commander Lee Leonard, and you tell him you don't want Tony Rios on any of your properties because he misled you into believing that you didn't have to have a standing written agreement, which the law says you have.
Yeah. What was Commander's last name?
Leonard.
Okay, Leonard.
Let me call somebody and get that number for you. Esther? What's Commander Leonard's phone number? Yeah. 738 what?
Okay, hold on one second. Let me give you his cell number. Hold on.
I'm going to give you a cell phone number. That's pretty good for a commander, isn't it?
Yeah, that'll work.
Well, we're pretty well in touch.
Get things done real quick.
Yeah. Esther? I'm talking to Michael Nolan. He's a property manager for SMTX Properties in San Marcos. He sent Rios a cancellation notice. He didn't, according to him, Tony said he didn't need to have a written agreement. They were doing a verbal authorization on the towing.
Okay, here it is. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. It's 512-738-1969. This is his cell number. 512, and write it down. I
wrote it down, Esther.
Okay, 738-1969. That's his cell.
Office number?
Yeah, his office, Commander Leonard.
Yeah, he's gonna. I suggested Michael call over Commander Leonard so they can give Tony Rios a criminal trespass warning to stay off all their properties.
I hope so. I hope it's you with the
Well, Michael needs to get in touch with him. They're right over on Stagecoach on Corporate Drive. Their address is 1920 Corporate Drive, Suite 201B. So you need to send Michael Jr. over there to talk to Michael.
So he can get the contract?
Yes, I'm talking to him right now on the phone. It's called SMTX Property Management. Yes. How many properties do y'all have, Michael?
Over 100.
How many?
Over 100.
Over 100 properties. Well, they can take care of your property. You don't have to worry about people getting ripped off because, see, they don't even charge drop.
Yeah, well, he only does 2 properties. Those are 2 that we just picked up here recently. So I told them to top service on both of those properties.
Yeah. I really don't care who you use, but I'll tell you, I'm obligated to tell you the bad people to protect yourself and your residents and their guests.
Yeah. So are you in charge of the Texas Towing Compliance?
Well, I'm president of it.
Here?
Yeah, we've got about 16,000 members and about 70 strike teams that are mostly retired law enforcement that go out and conduct covert operations around the state.
Well, that's good.
You know, all right. Commander Leonard's office number is 512-753-2105.
2105?
Yes. And his cell phone number is the same area code, 738-1969.
1969.
So what I would suggest you do, you call him and tell him, I've learned that I've been taken advantage of by Tony Rios, and he set me up for a huge financial loss. You know, he didn't tell me that I had to have a standing written agreement. Now I find out I'm required to have a standing written agreement. I'm required to provide written notice that I put up to sign. I didn't know anything about that. And now I'm looking at a huge financial fallout because of this. And I would request that you give him a criminal trespass warning.